Yeah, very good morning, students. We are in continuation of our Unit 2, Reading A. Oliver asked for more. In the previous video lesson, we have gone through a boy named Oliver is brought to parish to be looked after by the church authorities and put in the orphanage home. And he was presented in front of the board of directors, and he was bewildered and couldn't understand what the board was. And somehow he got habituated for next 6 months to continue with the system that was existed. The board has taken a decision to treat all the orphans in the home for slow starvation, and by that the children could suffer the lack of sufficient amount of food, whatever that is served for them, the grief. And finally, among children, they resoluted themselves. One is supposed to ask for something more. They had some meeting, and finally, they decided, proposed Oliver to ask that. So this was the recap. And let us start the next. The evening arrived. The boys took their places. The master, in his cook's uniform, stationed himself at the copper. His assistants ranged themselves behind him. The grill was served out. The grill disappeared. The boys whispered to each other and winked at Oliver. While his next neighbors nursed him, child as he was desperate with hunger and reckless with misery. He rose from the table and advancing to the master, basin and spoon in hand, said, somewhat alarmed at his own courage, please, sir, I want some more. The master was a fat, healthy man, but he turned very pale. He gazed in stupefied astonishment on the small rebel for some seconds and then clung for support to the copper. The assistants were paralyzed with wonder, the boys with fear. Let us see the narration of the situation here. It's an unusual situation in the large stone built hall at a higher elevation. The grill was served, and within a short time it was emptied. And the children winked at each other in order to remind Oliver to do his pre-decided job, that is, asking for more. And even Oliver was half fed. Even he was in the same opinion. But do remember, hunger can make many things. Hunger can make one a rebellion, can revolt. So long people can bear with all the difficulties, but one certain point of time when one couldn't get satisfied with appetite, it happens. So all the great revolutions across the globe, maybe French Revolution, American Revolution, Russian Revolution, are all these. They got started, initiated right from the starvation. So it's the same thing happened, and somehow Oliver rose from his place and asked, please, sir, I want some more. And the remarkable thing here is, in the parish, it never happened. In general, according to the church theory and the principles of the religion, nobody says something against the will of Bible, against the will of the church authority. But it's the first time it was not experienced in the parish. One small boy talking something that is unexpected, unwanted by church authorities. So whatever they give, the child is supposed to get satisfied. That is what the will and wish of the board as well as the religious heads over there. But all of a sudden, a small boy standing in front of the authority and asking for more is very shocking. So even the master felt little shocked. The master was a fine, healthy man. It seems how strong he was. But he turned very pale. Unexpected it is. A sudden expression. He never expected that it goes as usual. He could serve and the children will take to the last spoon and go away. But unexpectedly it happened. He gazed in stupefied astonishment on the small rebel for some seconds and then clung for support to the copper. He couldn't bear it. Even physically he became weak. So fetched for some support. And even other cooks, the assistants were paralyzed with wonder. The boys were with fear. Why boys fear? So it is unexpected, unwanted, against the principles of the parish. And we acted like this. What might happen? What might be the result of this asking more? That is the fear among children. What? Said the master at length in a faint voice. Still, he couldn't digest it, but there was a little fear. There was a little fear even with the master, and it's a symptom of revolution. Though it is small, so far there is no matter of questioning. All of a sudden somebody else question. In general it happens. In general it happens. You just try to recollect your experiences. You keep on asking something for a comfort or whatever the need or anything continuously your parents. Probably one day your father asks why you need it. You can't digest it. You can't digest it. It's the same psychology here with the master. So far in the parish, nobody questioned like this. So he became very pale. Please, sir, replied Oliver. I want some more. Though it is a form of request, please, his voice is authoritative because hunger made him shout with authority. I want more, some more. It's an authoritative voice. The master aimed a blow at Oliver's head with a ladle and shrieked aloud for the baby. He couldn't. He wanted to suppress this. You know, all the revolutions would be tried by the authority to suppress. When suppression starts, revolution gets strengthened. That is the philosophy of revolution history. Okay? So it's the same that happened. Master aimed a blow at Oliver's head with the ladle and shrieked aloud for the baby. The board was sitting in solemn meeting, so immediately the board again held a meeting. Why this unwanted behavior started in the parish. When Mr. Bumble rushed into the room in great excitement and addressing the gentleman in the high chair said, Mr. Limkins, I beg your pardon, sir. Our twist has asked for more. He complained to the board. There was a boy, an orphan, who is brought some 6 months back For the first time, he asked for more. There was a great start. Start in the sense, a kind of startling sensation in their minds. Vibrant situation. Unwanted. Horror was depicted on every countenance. Their faces looked horrified. For more, said Mr. Limpkins, compose yourself, Bumble, and answer me distinctly. Do I understand that he asked for more? After he had eaten the supper allotted by the board. So they were in a great opinion that there was no chance of anybody asking for more. This is a fixed opinion of all the board members as well as the Mr. Bumble and all. When the news is brought to the board, they wanted to confirm it, probably whether they are mistaken in listening. So he put the question clearly forth, Mr. Bumble. Do I understand that he asked for more? After he had eaten the supper. So even after eating the supper, did he ask, is it true? Are you right? This is the opinion the board wanted to confirm with. He firmly said, he did, sir, replied Bumble. He did, sir. The boy will be hung, said the gentleman in the white waistcoat. I know that boy will be hung. So, there is no question of asking for more as per their law. So, the boy must be punished. Nobody contradicted the prophetic gentleman's opinion. There is no other opinion. There was the principle of that parish. They should accept whatever the parish provide them. More than that, one cannot expect. If ever somebody else asking for, they will be definitely punished or suppressed or sent out of home. An excited discussion took place. Oliver was ordered into instant confinement, and a bill was next morning pasted on the outside of the gate, offering a reward of £5 to anybody who would take Oliver Twist off the hands of the parish. So a preparatory work is made and a notice is fixed on the outer wall of the parish. Anybody can take him out of the home. In the sense, anybody can adopt him. The parish wanted to send him out. In other words, £5 and Oliver Twist were offered to any man or woman who wanted an apprentice to any trade, business, or calling. So they decided to send Oliver Twist out of the parish. So this is the reward that he got for asking more. Okay, this is about the lesson. Now coming to, please look into your vocabulary part of your soft books. You are already sent e-books, and those e-books you please open, or even after later you do it. In the under vocabulary you have compound adjective exercise. Compound adjective. Okay. Before we do the exercise, I explain how it would be, and you are supposed to answer it in your worksheets that is provided to you. Adjective we need to recollect. We have already discussed in the classroom when you are in 7th class what is an adjective. Adjective deals with a noun. It might be a quality of noun or quantity of a noun. Quality or quantity. Let us see. Here is a board I am writing. And I apply some quality to this. I add some adjective to this. Green. So when I write the board now with a quality, I write as green board. Okay, there are two words combined here. When we identify the parts of speech of this phrase, board is a noun and green of course a noun, but here it is qualifying the color of the board, that is a noun, qualifying the noun so that it becomes an adjective. Do you recollect? So green board, in this phrase green has been functioning an adjective. Imagine I describe something more about the board. I can add here. Okay, wide green board. Even wide is qualifying the noun. Green is also qualifying the noun. And I have added two of the positive comments to the noun, wide as well as green. So here are two adjectives and hyphen here. So when we use two in combination, that is nothing but compound. Okay. So any adjectives used in combination to express or qualify a noun, that is called compound. Simple understanding. Compound in the sense two. Okay. Compound in the sense two. If we come across our lesson, there is a phrase, red-faced gentleman. Red-faced gentleman. Ultimately, what is known here? Gentleman is known. Red is an adjective and faced is also an adjective. Okay? Faced gentleman, red gentleman. Two are qualifying noun gentleman. So it's an adjective and it's also an adjective, and both of them helping each other in qualifying the noun. So we write these two different adjectives in the same purpose and put together side by side. So we call it as compound adjective. Okay, this is the thing you are supposed to do in the worksheet. Worksheet is nothing but your textual exercise. So you can go through that and make that compound adjectives. And coming to grammar, under grammar part, you have to make some yes or no type question. Questions are actually two types. Okay, and let us see. I read here, what is your name? So this question is supposed to be answered in full. My name is so and so. I am writing my name. This is the expected answer for this question. Then one more question. Are you a teacher? And for this, I can say either yes or no, or also can write the full list. Even if I say, because I am a teacher, I am answering in affirmative, yes. Yes itself can be an answer. So you need not write the full length answer for this, and expected answer can be either yes. If it is not, no. Okay. So what is the difference between the second variety of question and the first variety of question. The basic understanding is all the questions what is expected a full length answer are supposed to be started with, okay, WH words. WH words in the sense what, where, when, who, whom, whose, how, which, like this. Whichever starts with W or H. H is only how. All others are WH. Okay? So all these comes under main questions. Main questions. Then what variety of questions are to be said? Yes or no? What is the difference? Say here, in this yes or no expected answer, the question started with the or. We have already discussed there are certain B forms. What are they? Am, is, are, was, were. If you recollect in your 7th class on board, we have made the table like this. Okay. This is plural B form, singular B form, and this is used for present tense, and this is used for past tense. So, any question that starts with B form and either have or has or had. Okay? And other modals also can, may, okay, and do forms, do I, do they, does he, like that. So any of the do form or any of the modal verbs or auxiliaries or be forms, if they are at the beginning of a question, that is compulsorily yes or no type question. Okay, and I exemplify one or two from your textbook. As you are looking into your e-book, just look into the exercise there. Here we can understand there is some an assertive sentence. You are an orphan. Okay? You are an orphan. This is the sentence. That is the second one in page number 25 in my textbook. Let us see. This is not a question. This is a statement. You are an orphan. A statement. How do we make this? In the sense, we need to identify what is the tense and verb pattern here. You are. You is a plural pronoun, so that or B form is there. You are an orphan. Subject, verb, object. The simplest way is when you bring that B form at the beginning, you are is statement. Are you? Question. So, if you change the places of subject and verb, it becomes yes or no according to your exercise. Are you an orphan? Then for this, the expected answer is either yes or no. Then it became yes or no type question. And one more I give you. Mr. Bumble, shall I erase it? So simple it is. You need to identify, for example, if there is no be form or do form or has or have form in the sentence, you need to identify according to the tense. For example, I give a general one. She made an article. This is the sentence. Here there is no auxiliary identical. So you need to make out of it. She made. Made is V2. Then bifurcate that made into. How made can be written? Did plus make. Do, did, done. There are three forms. Do, did, done. Present form, past form, and past participle form. So did plus make is made. So you take this auxiliary. Did she make an article? If she really made, we say yes. If you are not sure of she didn't make, you say no. So this is the way. Even there is a main verb either in present form or past form, you can, for example, if it is not made, makes. If it is makes, then does plus make. Does, because she is a third person singular, we already know that is to be associated with does in simple present. Okay, does plus make. Then this did becomes does. Does she make an article? Okay, this is a general example I have given. And one more example I will explain out of your exercise. Yeah, this is in future tense. You will pick Ockham. You will pick Ockham tomorrow morning. This is the sentence given in your exercise. You will pick Ockham tomorrow morning. And what can be taken as auxiliary here? Future indicative modal verb. Will you pick Ockham? The rest of the thing is same. If the answer is yes, yes. If the answer is no, no. Simple. Hope you understand. The first one, that was in present tense. And are you an orphan? I answered. And in the general example, the previous one, I have given how a direct verb in past tense can be with did. If it is in present tense, how it with does. And this is the future. Okay? Okay. And if any of the others have, has, had, something like that, you can put that have, has, had at the beginning and write the subject next. So this is a simple way you can make this exercise correct. Okay. So likewise, you please try to understand if ever not clear, okay, about the same, you can ask any of the doubts related that in our live session. Okay, that is Zoom live session. Okay, so all your doubts are to be noted, and when it is the time we need to talk to each other directly, then you have to make use of the time. Okay, I remember as per the schedule, we have a live class on 21st. Okay, 21st, I am going to teach you tenses. Right, the session starts. Okay, I ask for any of the doubts you have already with whatever the content I taught you. Once that is clarified, then only we go to the concerned topic. Okay, children. So you will be circulated by your class teacher the related worksheet, and please fill it, mentioning your name clearly over there, and send that pics to Dhanalakshmi madam for evaluation. Okay, students? Thank you.